Welcome everyone to day two of an unbelievable NABC Championship Productions virtual clinic. Thanks for being on. Our next, Jeff Mittie is our next speaker. And we're really fortunate to have him. He did an unbelievable job in Atlanta. He spoke at our clinic there at Oglethorpe University last spring. Some of the accolades: 16 trips to the NCAA tournament, 6 WNIT, career record 672 wins. Last year they were 28-8, 13-5. So I just want to give you his journey through coaching. Missouri Western, he started it there in 1992, and then was at Arkansas State, did an unbelievable job. TCU, and then since 2000, I think 14, he's been at Kansas State and done an unbelievable job. Since he's been there, I think they're 218 and 143. Some of the accolades that he's done, I mean, just again, I mentioned to you, they're 11 and 15 in the NCAA tournament, but he also just how many trips? 16 trips. Coach, just welcome and thanks for being on. I know you're going to talk about offensive concepts, but thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, Tom. Hey, thanks for having me. Good time of the year for basketball coaches. Good time of the year to be talking hoops, and I'm sure everybody's looking for kind of the same thing, maybe one or two things that they can maybe teach differently. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing.
How many practices have you had so far?
We've had five. We've had five. So
Right. I want to take you back to practice one. What was the first drill you ran?
Oh gosh. Probably shell drill. Honestly, we probably jumped into shell drill. We do that. We do about 4 series of shell drill. We do with the jump ropes because we're a gap defensive team. We then turn that into stick swipe touches. We then turn that into cutters. We then turn that into closeouts and cutters. So we build it up. But that's probably the first thing we did last Monday.
So if you take 100% of your practice, how much is skill development at the beginning of practice? How much is offense? How much is defense? And maybe like all in one drills. How would you break it up?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's different with every team. I've got a really young team this year, and so we are having to play a lot. And one of the things that I want to see them do is just kind of what they do naturally. So I'm still in an evaluation mode of what they do naturally, and so we are playing a little more right now. So I would say that we're going to do about 25% of practice in an individual skill development. We're going to do about 25% in defensive drills, 25% offensive concepts, and then we're going to probably scrimmage for another 25%. But I would say with this particular team, we're probably higher towards the 40% scrimmage because I need to continue to see what they just do naturally, and hopefully after a couple weeks here, I'll be able to put them into better skill development work, better breakdown drills. And, it's kind of funny because of the portal and international recruiting. We didn't get two players until right before school started, right before September 1. So they've only been on campus a month. And then portal, you're kind of getting them in and out in the summer. And we had some players with other experiences. So that's kind of the breakdown for this year.
I got two things. I'm gonna turn over to Troy, and then Troy can turn it over to you and do your thing on offensive concepts. We can't wait, first of all, to come to campus and do that practice video. I just all I've heard is great things about your practice organization and drills. And then I'll just say again how much we appreciated you come and speak in Atlanta. You were phenomenal. The NABC is about educating the next generation of coaches, and you definitely did that there. So Troy, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll turn it over to Coach to go through his offensive concepts.
Thanks, Tom. As a Kansan, I welcome you, Coach, being on. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've been to the NBC for a long time, and I always hear about coaches talking about how they work their way up the ladder and paying their dues. You jumped straight into college, had coaching position. Talk us through that. How did that come about?
Yeah, I always kid the assistants that when I start to tell them, look, I've been in your shoes, they're like, yeah, you were an assistant for a year and a half. And there's some truth to that. I was at Missouri Western. I played baseball and basketball there. And I came back, was getting my master's, and I was like a lot, at the time, back then you were also teaching classes. So you're doing everything, right, as a GA. And so I was a GA for men's basketball, I was a GA for baseball, GA for women's basketball. So I was doing a lot of different things. And so there was an assistant coaching position on the women's side, and I had helped out coaching my sister at the AAU because I have a younger sister. And anyways, I jumped in, took it, and we improved the recruiting part of that. The team had been down for a number of years, and then as things would happen, there was a coaching change and they made me the interim coach at that time. And that's how I ended up getting the job. And I was only 25 years old at the time. So I'd only been in the business a couple years. So I had no idea what I was doing. I played for Tom Smith there, one of the legendary men's basketball coaches. He was still there. So I owe a lot to him, not only just helping me as a young coach, but helping me with practice organization, helping me with how to run a program, all the above, and just very fortunate.
That's great. Real quick before we turn it over, you've been in the coaching for 33 years now. How do you continue to grow and adapt as a coach and as a program, keep things fresh year after year after being a head coach for so long?
On it, a lot of doing this, I mean, I'm a curious coach. I love going to practices. I love going to, if I know another coach is running some actions or an offense that I'm curious about, I'll reach out to them and go watch a practice. If I see practice videos or clinics that I'm interested in, I mean, not only the clinic, but just the camaraderie that you get with going out to dinner afterwards and just having those talks as well. I mean, we've all probably written down more good plays on a napkin at, some bar or restaurant after a clinic, and you've come away with a lot of ideas. So, I've been curious. One of the things I'm going to talk about today is that, 3 years ago, well, 4 years ago, we had one of the dominant centers in NCAA basketball, but yet she was injury prone. And so I was looking for an offense that we could merge together and not be so reliant on just her domination, and to be able to kind of marry some different systems together to see how we could do that. So my staff and I have spent a lot of time watching different things and talking to different people. So that's how I've done it. And I don't know, I still love to do it. Um, if we're asking our players to get better every day, then we as coaches got to get better every day. And that's just how I feel about it.
Well, that's great. Well, before we turn you over to your subject, we have one question from the crowd that want to know can you explain the concept of using jump ropes in the shell drill?
Yeah, so shell drill, we're connected in 4 spots equally. Most of the time, we wrap those jump ropes around one wrist, and so in shell drill, we are in the gap. So whatever your distance is that you want, you can get those jump ropes to that. And when the ball moves, all four have to move in unison. If there's a weak link, you'll find it pretty quick. And I think it's a great start drill. It is a great, once again, if you have a weak link, you're going to find it pretty quick, and your teammates are going to either drag that person, you're going to break the jump rope, you're going to, essentially drag that player to the spot if that's what it takes. And I have seen our team really really just make solid improvements of habits. I think that's the one I tell my team every day. You were coming into practice, and if you do things right, you're going to create good habits. And if you do things wrong, you're going to create bad habits. And I think that's a drill that creates good habits.
Great. Thank you. And we'll let you turn it over and let you get started.
All right. Well, let me give you a little background on this. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Our center, Aoka Lee, is one of the dominant centers in the country. She set an NCAA record with 61 points in a game versus Oklahoma, and 6'6", great hands. And we were very fortunate that at the time, 4 years ago, we were running we were shaping the floor in triangle spacing. We were getting into high-low action. And we had what I call the ultimate gravity from the center spot, and we were able to run offense out of that. The problem was that there wasn't another player like her. So when we went to the bench, or she had injuries, and she had a significant knee injury, she ended up having the Macy knee surgery and redshirting 2 years here. And the Macy knee surgery, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, is total ACL reconstruction with cartilage replacement. And it's a very difficult surgery, and it can take up to 18 months to come back from. So 3 years ago, we started looking at more ball screen offense. We started looking at floppy action to get our shooters better windows, and turning that into more side to high ball screen action. And we wanted to be able to marry some of the actions that we were using with our center with better player movement, better ball movement, so that we weren't so reliant on that low post threat. So that's kind of how we started it. And, I think a lot of us older coaches that have been in it a while, when you were 10 to 15 years ago, you were a motion coach, you were a flex coach, you were a high-low coach, and that's what you did. And now in today's modern game of basketball, you're seeing a lot of those things blend together, and that's what we've been able to do. And I was cautiously optimistic when we started it 3 years ago, but I've been fortunate enough that we've had good enough pieces that we've been able to do it. So what I'm going to go through first is kind of our philosophy. My philosophy transition offense is this. We call it FIRE. And so I want, Madison, if you'll put up our transition offense FIRE. And so we want to win the first 3 steps, and we want to win the first 3 seconds. And the first 3 seconds, we want to win that our 5 are organized quicker than your 5. And I've got up there 5 against 4.5. We simply want one player on the other team to be lost, one player on the other team to be fatigued, one player on the team to be pouting because they missed the shot at the other end. Whatever the case may be, we want to be 5 against 4.5. We want quick, deep outlets. Our point guard's read on this is that if they can throw ahead, we throw it ahead. If we cannot throw it ahead, we flip the floor and look to throw it ahead there. Now, the other part of this philosophy is that I want us, the first 10 seconds of the shot clock, to stay on the attack. I want the next 10 to be whatever your teaching is in your practice. So if you're teaching them to, once the transition breaks down, you want to get into ball screen action, or you want to get to the middle of the floor and win the middle of the floor. You want to get post touches, whatever that is, that's the next 10. Okay. Now, I think the second 10 seconds are critical because I see more bad shots in that part of the shot clock than at any time. And this is where I think your practice is so critical because this is where how well your message is getting across in role definition, shot decisions, shot emphasis. Are you a team that hunts threes? Are you a team that wants to get paint touches before that? Are you a team that wants post touches? Are you a team that wants the ball to see three sides of the floor? All right, whatever the case may be, that's your teachings. And I spend a lot of time on that second 10 seconds because, like I said, I see more bad shots in that stretch of the shot clock than at any time. And then the last 10, we want to play off gravity. So when I say gravity, what's the strength of your team? What's the defense afraid of? In our case, I've already mentioned our center. We went in, we wanted to make sure that with having a dominant center that we surrounded that center with great shooting. So we wanted to have gravity at the center spot. We also wanted to have gravity where the defense had to make a decision. And not only a decision, but pick one, right? Pick one. What do you want? You want to give extra help to the center or do you want to stay out on the shooters? And so that's how I break down our transition offense attack. All right, Madison, let's show some clips there. Good rebound, decent attack, not a great push, but just like I said, we're 5 against 4.5 here, so we just gained the advantage, and that's what we're looking to do. And the two players on the left side of the floor are great shooters, so either of them could have hunted that three, but Poindexter makes a great pass to the corner, and we get a pretty easy one there. First 3 steps, not bad. Point guard flips the floor and doesn't have the throw ahead and gets a pretty easy attack here. This particular game was in the Sweet 16 game. Once again, our defender blocks it. It's not so much a push other than we get a good dribble push and we win the first 3 seconds. Poindexter, who's on the left wing, was out quickly, and we're just trying to get our group organized quicker than the defense. Nothing fancy about that. Obviously, just winning the first 3 steps in the first 3 seconds gives us a numbers advantage. This is the one I think that take this one back, Madison. So we want to move it with the pass more than the dribble. We have never had maybe that breakdown guard that just is going to attack and get baseline to baseline in 4 seconds. So we have done it differently. And you see here, their practice habits are to get rid of it pretty quick. So yeah, go ahead. Get the steal 1, 2 right away. Flip the floor, and then we got our best trail shooter right there, just kind of getting behind the action and enough of a push to get her a good look. All right, so I'm not going to talk about strong series too much. Strong series is pretty simple. And I think good offense is simple. I don't think you complicate it. I think if you've got, like we have had, a dominant low post, you're going to use that gravity. We have ended that strong series. If we haven't liked the early gravity, we've ended with the shuffle cut into a staggered for a shooter. And then we'll talk about our Barkley series later with the post up. But go ahead and let's show a couple clips of this one. This is pretty simple. So you can see the front, and go ahead and take that back, Madison. So, our point guard here just uses a little bit of a ball fake. We've got shooter in the right corner. Go ahead. A little bit of a ball fake, and that's pretty easy offense. My coach used to say that it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and Joes, and there's a lot of truth to that. In that, if you've got great players, great pieces, you can really make plays. Go ahead. And now we're just, once again, there's nothing complicated about our strong series here. It's we're gonna make the defense make a decision. The way people have tried to stop that, Madison, take that back to the pass from Serena and freeze it on that. The way people have tried to stop this is just get enough pressure on the guard. We happen to have a tall point guard, and so we've been able to. Now, when we've ran this with a shorter guard, we have entered the basketball to that bigger guard and shaped to the corner with the shorter guard. We've got our shorter shooter in the corner. This would not be a play that she would run from that trigger spot. All right, this is always a bigger guard or a wing entering, and you can see the gravity there. You can see the gravity. Kentucky is sitting in the backside of our center. Makes it a pretty easy read for our point guard. And go ahead. Okay, so the next series that we've worked on is what we call punch series. And we're using that gravity of the center and our shooters to open up the middle of the floor. And I want the best decision makers on our team to be the ones that we designate to look to punch the floor. And when we punch the floor, when we are in what we call flow, which is our ball screen motion offense, when we do that, I have designated who I want to punch the floor most of the time. This also moves well into some low to high ghost action if we don't like what we get out of that. If we don't like the high low look, if we don't like the drive out of the punch or the skip out to the three, but one of the things I'm constantly talking to our players about is we have to win the middle of the floor offensively. I just think it gives your offense so many options when you win that middle of the floor. So, Madison, go ahead, run that. So right there's our punch. You see the gravity inside defensively. This is a big play for us here. This is what, if you saw this game, this was the round of 32 to go to the Sweet 16, and there were 21 lead changes in this game. And we're trailing 2 here with a minute to go in overtime here. So we're punching this right in the middle of the floor with our best decision maker. She's got the look to go high low. She can drive it if she chooses. Once again, she does a great job of getting the eyes to where she doesn't want to throw it. She uses the gravity and then skips out for the three. This just happened naturally. This is go ahead. We actually shaped this into strong. So go ahead. We didn't have all the pieces. Take it back, Madison. We didn't have all the pieces where we wanted it. But our off wing makes a nice read. Um, and just, once again, our teachings and practice are okay, freeze it, is all that gravity is that defense is drawn to the center. And how do we play out of that? And she makes a great read to cut to that elbow. And if our offside 3-point shooter would get in the corner, she would also have that play as well. Go ahead. So another way that we decided to get into some punch was with just a down pin. We wanted the ball in the middle of the floor. USC was doing a great job of being physical with our cutters, and so we freed them up just with a simple down pin and a good duck in. See the pressure on our guards. That was one of the ways everybody, this is actually called action here. So we're going to run flip here. We're going to fake the alley screen. Now, we didn't do a great job of getting to where that was much of a threat, but the flip is with a really good shooter. So we're going to run our shooter out wide, and the gravity is going to open up the middle of the floor here. So we run the shooter out wide. And now there's the middle of the floor. We're able to punch it, get a deep seal in here, and this is pretty good timing by our offense. Go ahead. Another flip, middle of the floor. Go ahead. Here we got into action pretty quick. We weren't organized early, but we got into it here and gave and Serena does a great job of reading that middle again. So go ahead. I think you can do this. Take this back again. Take this back. I need to talk about this one. This is actually floppy action with number 4 as a screener, and then she's going to punch it, which was something that we hadn't put in till the end of the year. So we get organized here, and there she is. We've got shooters coming off both sides. Go ahead. And now she's just going to play off of that opening. We've got all three shooters. One of the things we really had as a team was the 3 that are on the floor right now could really shoot the basketball. I think we ended up second in the country in 3-point field goal percentage. So pretty good pieces to run this stuff. Go ahead. Then there's the drive option. Okay. Um, so one of the other things is that I keep talking about gravity. So I think a couple things I need to discuss on that is just simply that obviously the gravity for us was pieces. All right. And the 3-point shot became gravity as a unit. So we were using those things. Um, I think gravity can be whatever your team, whatever you feel like the defense is afraid of. And then I think every coach has got to say, okay, if they're afraid of that, how can that benefit others? So, one of the things that we were not a great driving team, but our shooters created driving lanes that we had to look at how can we take advantage of those driving lanes. Now, even though we weren't a great driving team, punch was something that could take advantage of that because you were only a dribble true away. We were not a great driving team from the 3-point line. So that's one of the things as the season progressed, we kept asking ourselves, all right, we've got good gravity here. We've got gravity here. How can we continue to create more gravity and how can we continue to take advantage of it? Well, one of the areas that we wanted to was we wanted to in the Barkley series because we had a big guard post up that we could utilize. And so we really utilized number 4 in what we called the Barkley series, which is the post up back down. And we got her there in a variety of ways. She dribbled down to it, shuffle cut, we ran back screen action when we thought we were going to get a switch to get her a different mismatch. So I'll show those here. So we're just going to post her there and spread everybody out. Shooters out all over the place. And you can see just they play her one-on-one and we were willing to let her play that. Out of bounds. I'm always looking for ways to do the same thing. Can we run our emphasis out on out of bounds stuff? And here's a good one here that's pretty simple. Here's the shuffle cut to get her down in there. Once again, our spacing is with shooters. Take that one back. Madison, freeze that on the post entry. After about a second, I'll tell you when. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Okay. Take it one more. Yeah, right here. You can see all the shooters. There's nobody coming. And once again, if you're comfortable with that, which we were, if they weren't bringing anybody, then our gravity players got to be able to score that. Go ahead. We didn't think we'd get the mismatch there, but we felt like we'd get the front there. Go ahead. And this is out of bounds where we knew that their habits were to switch. Now, whether teams change that or not, um, I think you've got to be willing to play any of your gravity plays. You got to have your trust in your players. But go ahead, we're going to get the switch here. We thought we thought we had a good chance to get the switch. And then the last one here is just the simple dribble down. And we're going to leave our shooter ball side here because of some of the habits. We wanted to, normally we had him spaced away, top of the key, wing, corner, but we wanted shooter to stay behind, and Serena made him pay here, but go ahead. Freeze this. And this is just kind of Barkley action naturally. And so this is where I get to when you're in that middle 10 seconds of your shot clock. This is where your players learn to, I think this is where your teachings and practice. Play to your strength, play to the gravity, know how to get there without a play being called. And our group was able to do that. Go ahead. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, a lot of this that we started looking at 3 years ago was with the thought in mind that we needed to be more versatile offensively. We needed to be less reliant on our center. We needed to understand um, uh, one, where our gravity could come from differently, and we needed to expand that, and then we needed to teach it better in practice, and we needed to drill it better. We need to do everything better. So, some of the stuff, like we have a punch shooting drill that we created that practices that not every day, but we probably do punch shooting 3 to 4 times a week. Um, we do our individual work. I mentioned earlier when we were talking that this is a brand new team for me. So I'm playing around right now with who can be in the Barkley series. Do we have more options than we had a year ago in the Barkley series? Who naturally, I mentioned that earlier, who naturally goes to the middle of the floor? Or who do I have to force to the middle of the floor? Sometimes you got to force them. Um, some players play better when the play is called for them than just naturally being aggressive. So I'm still learning those things with my current team, but all of this, as we married this together, um, has once again, I think, created a better, more diversified offense. Ball screen series, we use step up game to get the 2-man game. We use middle ball screen to create some confusion on defensive tags. And we'll move our center at times above the free throw line, which we never did with Lee for obvious reasons. But this has become something that we're using more and more. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Yep. So what we're really trying to do here pretty simply is get two to the basketball. So that's any of our ball screen action. That's any of our ghost action. Can we cause, and I'll, Madison, hold it here. Yep. I want to go back to just talking about transition where we wanted to get 5 against 4.5. Really offensively, you see right here, we've got two to the ball. Guard's got to handle this, kind of get muddied up a little bit, but ends up recovering. And at that point, it's about, we don't have great spacing opposite the basketball right now, but we've got enough, and we got two to the ball. So now it's up to us to make the decision of the right player. Go ahead. If we can get two to the ball, if we can get people confused, go ahead, just run it. I'll talk while it's running. Center up high here. We're trying to create some better driving lanes, but we don't do it great. But this is a play that take it back. It ends up working simply because the gravity on our shooting is so good. And once again, the guard with the basketball right now is one of the best shooters in the country. And we end up with the pieces in the right spot. Our guard ends up making the right. It's going to be a single tag, and they got to make the decision: are they going to tag, or are they going to stay with the shooter? They chose to stay with the shooter, and we've got an easy layup. Another ball screen, middle of the floor. Go ahead. Good bounce pass. Freeze this. We like to clear this out on ice. When people ice that ball screen, don't let us use it. We like to clear that out with our shooter. They do a good job of hammering her on the baseline. She does a good job of keeping enough patience. Go ahead. All right, so the last thing I'm going to talk about is just our flow series, where our flow series is a combination of all of it. And where we most likely see the most flow is right after transition, where you've had that advantage and now your players are still playing. And so it allows them the freedom either after initial action, or it allows them some freedom after that initial transition push. And then what you want to see in whatever you're doing, motion or whatever, what I want to see is I want to see us naturally get into the things that we teach them, naturally get into punch, naturally into ball screen, naturally into Barkley strong, and then just have the ability to recognize where our advantage is. And this is the area that I see for us. This is where I see our practice habits. This is where I see our teachings. And if it's not very good, then I've done a poor job. My staff and I have not got our message across enough in our habits or our teachings. So go ahead and let it run here. So we're using floppy here, into punch, don't like it, get a flip. Another one, kind of two to the ball, and a small window. Not great offense, but enough, and enough ball movement and enough two to the ball to be able to get a play here. Go ahead. Once again, this is just naturally getting into Barkley. It wasn't a play call, wasn't anything, and just naturally getting into that. Players naturally getting to where they're good at. Go ahead. Yep, and this was just, we wanted to get in the two-man game there, run that back. I'll talk a little bit about that because our center does a great job because she has a couple options here. Um, we space the shooters away from this two-man game. Um, we run a screen with the guards to try to create some confusion. They actually defend it pretty well till the very end. They get a decent switch there. We do a good job there of holding that screen and good pocket pass there with good spacing away from them. And good gravity there of just a simple middle ball screen, but a good gravity player there. Um, take that one back. I do want to talk about something. So I do want to talk about our ball screen because this is not a good screen by our forward here. Freeze it. So we want our screener to force that defender to go high every time. And so right here, she has got to get another full stride lower. And because we want all of that to set up whether we want to ghost it or whether we want to twist that screen. And she's a little too high here. And if you watch this clip and watch her, she actually has to go around that guard to get to the lob. And we end up making a good play, but I think she would have had the lob if that guard goes over the top of this. Go ahead. Yeah, she's actually got to avoid her. They tag it and our guard makes a good pass, but not exactly how we want to do it. We really, every time we're ball screening, we want a low angle and we want to force that guard to go high. And we also want to, if they do want to go low, we want to force them to go so low that we've got an opportunity to shoot the basketball. So here we are in flow again, and we should see some things. All right, we tried to ghost there. Go ahead, take that back. So we tried to go low to high, ghost it. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. They don't bite on it. Punch it. Good high, low. Good flip. Pretty good defense here. This is a pretty good defense. It kind of shapes, it's not perfect, but it gives a little bit of a strong look to us. And this is without our All-American, but another good center. Go ahead. Freeze it there. Yeah, take it all the way back. One of the things I do like our shooters to do is chase it. And I think if they chase it and they are defended, we can go into some other actions, but they can also steal a three here. So you watch our shooter chase it here. Go ahead. Doesn't like it. All right. Good flip there. Back to her. And she just needs a small window. And the gravity you'll see in the next clip, I mean, she learned to use it and we work on it every day in individual work. We work on this next gravity play. Go ahead. So this comes off an offensive rebound. Move it. Spacing's bad right now. All right, we're better organized here. Don't like it. Keep playing. good, little bit of a tag, skip, and there's the gravity. And that's, once again, that's what she has learned to do. And that's what we're teaching is that because we're running her off of stuff, we're trying to create that defense to draw to her as much as possible. She makes them pay with a sidestep three. So that's kind of what we're trying to get for her. So I know this graphic may be hard to see. So I have been pleased with where this offense has evolved. I've been pleased. We've had really good pieces. So, one of the best teams I had in terms of moving the basketball, unfortunately, at the end of the shot clock, had to shoot it. And we ended up being a decent offensive team, but we ended up pretty high um, in both 2-point efficiency. Um, we ended up, I think, ninth in 2-point, second in 3-point, and overall one of the top 5, 6 teams in efficiency. And so I feel like um, we're on the right path to at least solid offense. We better keep recruiting because you can run all the good stuff you want. If you don't have any players, it doesn't matter. But I do think that some of the stuff we've done has been good stuff for our personnel. So, any questions?
Coach, I got one question from text message. You've won every place you've been. All right. So what are your pillars? What are the non-negotiables that this program and all the programs have been built on?
Yeah, well, let's just talk defensively. I think we've done it. We've done it with some different styles. I think the one thing that recruiting has always kind of evolved to where maybe you don't exactly get the same kind of player every year. So you may have to be flexible to a style. But I think in a nutshell, the pillars have been from a defensive standpoint, we want to be tough to score on. We want to contest every shot. People will judge defense off of turnovers, maybe opportunities that way. I judge it on field goal percentage defense, period. And, from a defensive standpoint, we judge it. We evaluate every practice, we evaluate every game on how many tough shots, how many shots are uncontested, and how can we do that better? Now, offensively, I think one of the things that the non-negotiable for me is you have to be able to take care of the basketball. We have to. I cannot stand teams that turn it over. I think it leads to plays that we can't defend at the other end. Um, and so the non-negotiable for us is playing with poise, playing efficient basketball, not turning the basketball over, and then playing unselfish basketball. Shot selection has always been extremely important for the pillars of our offense, and I think that's one of the things that in practice. When I go back to practice, I mean, these are things that every day you're teaching them and getting players to buy into their role and getting players to understand it's, I say probably 10 times a day in practice that it's our shot. It's our shot. It's not your shot. It's our shot. So every shot we take is Kansas State women's basketball shot. So it's got to be one that we feel good about.
Coach, there's one question from the audience. Do you have any advice on how to attack and counter the box and one defense?
um, you know, yeah, I mean, I think any box and one, particularly if it's on, I'm guessing that it's on a wing or a shooter or something like that. If it's on that player, I'm going to run them off a floppy. I'm going to give them, multiple actions. But I think once again, you also have to think about not that player scoring. How can you use that player to score with other players? And so you've already got the gravity. You've already got the number one thing that I think can really help you. You've already got the gravity, so use it. So run them off of action, maybe run them off at 2 actions, but in doing that, I wouldn't necessarily think of it as the only way is for them to get shots. I would think of it, how can I run them off to action to make this player? If you've got a good driver, put them on the same side so that there's no help on that side. I just think it sounds like whoever asked that question's got a heck of a player because somebody's wanting to put extra attention to him. So I try to figure out how to use that.
Troy, you got anything before we have to jump on to the next call? Troy's muted. Coach, thanks for doing this. And I can't wait to do this the open practice thing with you because I see just great things, and how you communicate and correct and share is greatly appreciated. Troy?
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it a lot.
Guys, I appreciate it. Enjoyed it. Anytime.
Coach, we'll be in touch soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. We'll be back with Kelvin Sampson in a few minutes.